everyone, Joshua Hanlon here, and today I'm with Paul at the Bricks and Minifigs store here in Richmond, Virginia. Today we're going to be taking a look at some of the really cool, rare, and unique products they have in the store, as well as showing off some really cool custom builds by some local builders here in the Richmond area. But to launch off, let's take a look at this super impressive castle chest set and packaging.
Sure, yeah. Hey, Josh. So about a year ago, somebody brought this in. This is actually from my personal collection, but I absolutely adored this chest set. It's called Giant Chest. I had no idea, but then when we got it, the guy's like talking to us about it, and it came in, you realize real quick why it's called Giant Chest. And we got this big book. Like, it comes in this big book.
Some of the best packaging all time of a Lego set.
Yeah, like the chessboard was in here. It's got all the minifigures that you can see, and everything was hidden underneath. I actually have the instructions hidden underneath here, I think. Yeah, under there. And like, just that classic castle, like fantasy theme stuff. And then once I started playing around with it, because my sons love to play chess, and we're sitting there at home, and you start going through, and you're like, oh, the dwarves, the trolls, like. So what threw us off was that the trolls are bishops, and like, bishops. We were talking about this earlier. The bishops are usually really delicate, but not here. No, the trolls are. They rule the roost here. But I mean, you have a siege tower and the tower as the rooks, and like you can just tell Lego put a lot of care into this. There's lots of all these like really the chromed parts. All the little details.
Yeah, even like playable details.
Yeah, playable details,
like
yes.
movable details here.
Yeah,
like the towers that roll and move.
Yeah, everything about it is just takes that chess, like, chess has been around forever. How do you make chess extra fun? Well, I don't know about you, like, especially at home, like, this is perfect. Like, this is like, to me, this epitomizes what you want chess to be, like, all the little, like, castle bits and pieces. It gets you really excited. Like, I think, like, even like a little wheel here. Yeah. We've spent lots of hours. My two sons love playing with this, and it's been a blast. But we're actually going to sell it in our store now because we kind of gotten our use out of it, so we're looking to bring it in here.
But I think a really cool example from a theme that I know a lot of the more hardcore castle fans consider this theme a bit of an outlier. I mean, you've got like skeleton horses and some more kind of bizarre things, and it's like, what was Lego really doing here? But you did get examples like this of just some really quality builds.
Yes, exactly. And I know skeleton horses aren't everybody's favorite, but it just like. Some of our customers, they play D&D, and they love these kinds of things for D&D. So, like, I think years later, we've come to like realize, like, hey, these are some really cool stuff that they did. Yeah, really well thought out.
Moving on down now to a very different theme, we've got this train here. So tell us about this one.
Sure. So this is the Emerald Knight. I know there's a lot of big Lego train collectors out there. Lego built this, made this model as a tribute to the Scottish Flyer, I believe. And it's got that striking, like, beautiful green palette with the gold striping on it. And it's just got that really elegant build out. And this one's got the little dining car. In fact, let's pop that off. And this is like almost like that tribute to like classic trains. Like, I don't know if you've ever been on a train or a passenger train like this, but it's so much fun to get on a train like this and travel and like see different things, and like they nailed that like experience, that vibe. This one actually too has the ability to be modded with a battery pack. So it's got the full control system. So a lot of people loved this one because they could put it into their trains, their cities, their train displays, and like you just don't find that kind of like classic look with like the brown, like the coloring. I fell in love with this the minute I saw it. You can't beat a classic train like that.
Yeah, I think this set is about 15 years old now, and it's still, I can consider by many train fans to be the all-time greatest Lego train.
Yeah, exactly. And in fact, the poor Orient Express that came out last year gets compared to this. I'm like, they're both amazing trains. Why hold one against the other? Like, they can both be great, for sure.
Now, do you know, were there any particularly rare parts or colors in this? I'm trying to remember.
No, I think it's just the green itself was what made it really stand out. Because up until then, you just hadn't gotten these shapes and those elements in these kind of like the dark greens and things like that. Yeah. And then getting it all in that one package.
Sure.
And nowadays too, just being able to get a train that you can essentially drop a battery pack in, mount the wheels, and you're ready to go. I think that's what a lot of train fans really want. Yeah.
And of course, it's not a great set lineup without some Star Wars representation. So what do you have here?
Sure. I mean, it wouldn't be a Bricks and Minifigs without a lot of Star Wars stuff. So this one, we recently just had the Star Wars celebration, and this one stood out to me. It's Anakin's customized starfighter. I had never seen this one before either. Some of my employees explained to me that it comes from, I believe, the Legends show. Which is the pre-Clone Wars TV show.
I get lost in the
yes. If you show me a minifigure, I can tell you like who it is to a degree. But like you asked me for the lore, I like to watch it with my kids. But what really stands out about this is all the pieces parts. If it's all right if I pick it up and I'll just show you from the front there, like it's I guess, customized by Anakin to have all these like big engines, extra guns, all these extra like fins. It's like a hot rod for like Star Wars fans, right? And it really just stood out to us because you'll see these Jedi starships come in that triangular shape, but to have all the accoutrement on it and like the cool stuff. I have yet to see it. I think it was a web cartoon originally, and then like that's what got them to go, okay, let's make Clone Wars, and now you've seen like people love Clone Wars. So for sure.
For me, I love anything different with Star Wars. Like you said, you get some of like so many of the same type of design again and again.
And it's blue. Like, you know, no gray. Give me, man, Lego, if you ever watch this video, give me blues, reds, yellows. Give us the color, because I think Star Wars fans, while the big ships, gray ships are great, the color is what drives people. It drives them crazy. So I love it. I love seeing color. For sure.
Speaking of color, this next build down the line, one of my all-time favorite displays, just because it is so colorful with the advertisements around the outside, but then the playability is amazing. So this, of course, is the soccer theme from the early 2000s. You can see the playable goalies and players here. So for people who aren't familiar with this, it's kind of built with these individual kind of base plates that each one could hold a man, and then these spring-triggered kind of stands that the minifig would sit on, and you could play soccer against your friends.
Yeah, this is crazy. And see, I'm a big fan of the play aspects of Lego. I want people to play together. We love having sets like this in the store because you can take this and set this down. I can grab somebody from the floor and be like, hey, let's play a game of soccer. They're like, what? We get to play soccer? And then like they just like so well designed. Oh, I just scored a goal on myself. But such a neat design. You know, got these pullbacks for the goalies. Every once in a while, we'll try to have like a little in-store challenge and see who can score a goal from the farthest away. I am not a very good player of this game, but it's so much fun to be able to interact, and I think that's what makes Lego really, really good is when you're doing it with somebody that you're friends with, somebody that you love, somebody that you want to spend time with, because like bringing people together, I think, is what Lego is about, for sure.
Absolutely. This set also gave us one of those bizarre pieces, which is this long Technic piece with like the handle on the back. So sometimes you'll be going through like bulk pieces or something, and you'll run across a piece like that and be like, what could that possibly have been used for?
Right. And so when we started getting back into Lego with our kids, like I had never even seen this, and when we had gotten some bulk and I found also the little handles, I'm like, what is this? Like it just makes you go crazy. You have to go run back and try to find the pieces and parts. You're like, oh wow, they actually made these really cool soccer sets. It's so neat to see some of this stuff. Especially when it's put together like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Next in line is Pirates of the Caribbean, one of the all-time great Lego pirate ships that they've released.
Yeah, so this is the Queen Anne's Revenge. I gotta always say it right. Some people say the Queen's and no, it's the Queen Anne's Revenge. This one is from one of the third or fourth movie. Again, don't ask me for lore.
There were a lot of them.
There were a lot. After like the second one, I'm like, whoa, I can't keep up. But this one's pretty striking because of the minifigs that come with it, but also these red sails. I think you'll find most people, just like people who like trains, Lego has their subset of ship fans. I am definitely a pirate ship fan. The hulls, the designs here, all these awesome little skulls, the skull designs on the flaps for the cannons.
Of course, lots of cannons, a full broadside here.
You can load it up. A couple times when we've rebuilt some of these sets, I've just put extra cannons in it, so people are like, oh my gosh. I'm like, yeah, you want to have it all stacked out so you can fire. What was unique about this set, and unfortunately she's missing it, sadly, it's a Naga piece of, but there was she had a feather that was a specific color just to her, and it's only in this set. And we've had it a couple times, and sometimes we get it without the feather, sometimes we get it with the feather. One time we got it and the feather fell off, and I pulled every cabinet out. We pulled everything out to find that feather because it's such a neat thing, like to be able to show people too, like, hey, you've never seen this before.
Yeah.
Let me show you something that you've never seen.
But the minifig designs and the Pirates of the Caribbean sets in general just gave us some really nice designs.
Fantastic. I mean, like there's the Blackbeard in there, and I think there's a good Jack Sparrow. Like, yeah, you just see, and the molds. I think a lot of people love seeing the molds and the prints, and it's all that kind of stuff all comes together and it stands out. You're just like, wow, it's one of those things you want to have to display for sure. Definitely.
Going much older now, we've got some of the old kind of Castle Fright Nights era sets here.
All right, so yeah, this one specifically is definitely my childhood. I can remember looking at the catalogs and circling these kinds of sets. I have always loved the prints. So this is the Dragon Wagon, and it's got the beautiful shields, all the prints. I mean, when this came in with that flag, and
yes.
I just absolutely was like, oh my gosh, that's like, I was like 6 years old, 7 years old when this came out, and it's just amazing. And these old dragons, I'm going to pull him out so we can display him. They're so well designed with the great pieces.
It's an iconic classic look.
Yeah, and it looks so amazing, and you can use those for so many other things too, not just for these. But yeah, the Dragon Wagon, one fantastic name. Like you gotta give them credit. But then just as a kid with all the horses and all the bits and pieces, like this is the kind of stuff that even though you could use your imagination, like it helped you get to like that next level of like play, and it was so much fun.
And I think a lot of even younger people that weren't around when these sets came out have nostalgia for this just because of the Legoland parks that really leaned heavily into this, so the castle areas. So a lot of kids today even have gone to those parks and seen these similar kind of motifs and designs.
It's so great when somebody comes back in, they're like, Mom, Dad, like look what I see, like the dragons and the wings. It's like I didn't even know this was like real Lego. Like they just think it's like stuff from like the parks. It's so great. It's so cool. The Fright Night too. I love this one because recently they did the new CMF. That's like a homage to him. But like, here, I'm gonna take his little staff off.
Just the bling and the flare is amazing
right?
there.
Like,
the staffs, the swords.
You get this amazing staff, the sword, this helmet that just with a big bat wing, so he's a bat lord, and then like the trans neon orange wings. Like these things just pop out so much, and it's that thing where even if it was just a small set, you got that you felt like it was something special.
Right.
Yeah. Obviously too, the Black Dragon mold just going alongside that, like. He's so much cooler, even though he's the bad guy. So much cooler. Yeah, definitely love the Fright Nights. One of the first sets we got in when we opened was a sealed Fright Night set, and my wife, she's like, "You're not allowed to take that home," and I'm like, "But I really, really, really want it." She's like, "No, can't come home." So yeah, I had to bite the bullet on that one and sell it.
Up next, going underwater with one of the older, there have obviously been like a lot of underwater themes that LEGO has done over the years, but this is one of the older ones here.
Yeah, and this is a theme that I did not really know about, even though it's closer to like my age group, but I know that LEGO had moved into some of these underwater themes. This is another one that gets a lot of people excited because they love all the trans neon orange, all those highlights with the chrome on the rocks and things like that, and the octopus especially.
The kind of playability here.
Oh yeah,
opening up some of this.
Yeah, you get to pick everything up. It's got a real compass on the top, which like you just don't think like why would they put a compass in it? But as a kid, that's so cool. And then unfortunately, we don't get these strong magnets anymore, which is probably good.
There was that era with M-Tron and a lot of those themes that leaned heavily into that.
Yeah, and these are so much fun to play with still because like you pull the magnet. I'm just gonna pull the magnet, and it's really strong. Like it's so strong to like. I just, as a kid, I didn't even, you take those things for granted when you're young, and you just, you play with them, you're like, oh, this is great, look at this, like, cool stuff, but then, like, as an adult, you're like, oh, we really had, like, a golden era of, like, really fun stuff. Yeah, lots of play of features. I mean, everything about this. My oldest son loves these kinds of things, and he's always like, Dad, look at this cool stuff, look at this cool stuff, and it's great to have younger kids show me these things, because, like, I missed out on them, so it's really, really cool.
And, of course, Aquanauts with this super fun, flip-up packaging here. You can see inside there the instructions, and then just all the fun artwork and everything from this era is always super impressive.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? One of the things, Joshua, I don't know if you ever really take a look. I love how all the old Lego builds have B builds and C builds.
Yeah.
And speaking of my son, he actually had gone out and he found a website to do all these C and B builds, and now that's what he likes to do. He likes, Dad, I like to look at this B build I did. I'm like, dude, that's really cool. I love that they encourage people to do creative things and different things with their sets and not just have to build a set and keep it. And like it really stands out, like especially when you see those old sets like that, for sure.
Absolutely. And that brings us then to the end of the counter where we pulled out just a tray of kind of older minifigs. What are some of your favorites from this tray?
Sure. So back to that fantasy era castle stuff. Again, with those trolls, these guys specifically have this black armor. This is from the Troll Mountain cave. And these just have this is really the printing, the details, the unique use of colors. But I love that they've got the little orc print, like tattoos. Like they really went all out to make these guys stand out. And like I had never seen the Orc King. Really cool with, he's got this really cool copper helmet. And then
the cape and that sword design is very unique.
Very unique. And then my staff was talking about, we all went crazy. I've never seen the Orc Queen, right? And like. She's so cool. She's got this really cool print on her face and like the really unique.
Casually holding a spider.
Oh yeah, exactly right. Who just walks around with a spider? From this plate, like all kinds of cool castle figs. Like I did remember her. She's a ranger from the Forest Guardians now. One of those older sets. Just something like I really love that older Lego had some of that representation. So it's like, hey, you know what? Forest sets are for everybody. But a lot of really cool stuff in there. Some really cool knights. One thing that I was kind of saving, not on this plate, but we also have another Star Wars thing to show off. So we have a special minifig. I was told that this is, I believe, one of 10,000. Right?
Very nice.
Yeah, when they did the first anniversary, I think it was 2009. They randomly packaged these, I think, in paper bags inside sets, a Star Wars set. So if you had bought a Star Wars set, you might open it and it'll be that. I think they even made a run that was actually plated gold, but these are the chrome gold. So yeah, this is a chrome gold C3PO. we were able to put that together. He's like in really amazing shape.
Is this the first time you've had this minifig come into the store?
Yeah, very first time we've had this one. Yeah, we've been fortunate to get a lot of really cool Star Wars figs. But when I saw this one, I was like, oh man, it's something about chrome. I don't know about you.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, there's something about chrome that you just go, wow, chrome is amazing. It makes them really stand out. This one's super special. We're actually going to give this one to our son.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, so he does a lot of work for us in the store, so we're going to hand this one to our son, and he's really excited.
Glad you could show it off to us.
Yeah,
today,
I wanted to be able
least.
to share it with everyone, because how often do you guys see something that's one of 10,000?
Right.
Yeah.
So this is an amazing lineup, but I think this not only shows like the uniqueness of what you have, but also the variety of what you have. And there's obviously so much more you can see behind us here and in the store. So I love that you've got so much available for LEGO fans. Whenever they come into the store, there's always new things coming in. But you not only have this Bricks Minifigs store, you're actually opening a second one in the Richmond area as well, right? So tell us more about that.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to open one on Southside. So right now we are in the west end of the Richmond area. It's a pretty big metropolitan, and we always get people like, oh, I live 30 minutes, 40 minutes away. And it's just on the south side of Richmond, but we're like, all right, we need to open on Southside. We have a lot of great fans, a lot of kids that live on Southside, and their parents just can't bring them here all the time. So we want to bring the same joy, fun, all the excitement. Like for us, the play and joy of LEGO is what's worth sharing. And being able to do that in a store like this and have people come in and be excited. So we're really excited to open one later this year on Southside too, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So for people who want to keep up to date with both this store and maybe any updates on the new store opening, what's the best places to follow you guys online?
On Facebook and Instagram, we're Bricks and Minifigs Richmond, and we're going to be sharing all that. We're actually going to announce our Bricks and Minifigs, our new locations site here in the next couple of weeks, but we're going to put it all on social media. We do a lot on Instagram. We have people always love seeing our Instagram live, so we try to do a lot of fun stuff like that.
Great, and we'll make sure to have a link to the website and social media in the description of this video.
Awesome.
So if you're in the Richmond area, make sure you stop by, check out this store. I mentioned you saw the Beyond the Brick video and check out some of the amazing products here. Now we're going to go take a look at some fantastic custom builds from some of the local builders in the Richmond area. Now we've got a couple of the local builders from the RVA LUG. This is the Richmond LEGO Users Group, and they're going to be showing off some of their custom builds here at the Bricks and Minifigs store. And so if you want to introduce yourself, and then we'll take a look at some of what you brought in.
Hi, I'm Tom Casaza. I go by Biltmore Bricks. This is the Biltmore Theater. So this is a theater facility that I designed and built with the idea being that all these different shows are able to go onto the stage. So it's a complete theater facility. You've got your front of house, backstage, tech spaces, working house curtain. Backstage, you have a scene shop, dressing room, a little bit of a retail space, and then a whole bunch of different shows that are able to go onto the stage. A lot of which have different action features built into them. Les Miserables, the barricade comes together. Miss Saigon, the helicopter is able to raise up, so on and so forth.
Nice. So before we launch on into the different scenes, let's take a closer look at some of the details in the theater itself. Maybe start with the front section and take us through what are these different areas.
Absolutely. So the front of the building comes off so that you're able to see inside much better. A lot of different Easter eggs. So you have a lobby space here with a ticket booth, restroom off to the side as well, just for some fun. Above that on the third level is actually a tech space that has a working follow spot, audio console, lighting console, all of those being able to light the stage. A couple different Easter eggs out in the front of the building as well, in terms of some fun down in the sewers. Pizza delivery guy coming through actually just delivered pizza for the guys that are up on top of the roof. Once we get into the house itself, we start to get into other things. There's a bunch of different people in the audience. One person trying to get their seat with a ticket. You do have a working front of house lighting rig as well. Then on stage, again, different shows are able to be swapped out. In the balcony, there's a couple of fun little Easter eggs too.
Kind of swap things in and out here.
Swap things in and out, but in the balcony, there's some fun in being able to work within the confines of what LEGO's provided for us. So Statler and Waldorf from the Muppets, as well as Abraham Lincoln, people who all love to go and see live theater.
And what is the show that you have on stage right now?
So on stage right now is the Nutcracker. Those two dancers are able to move. They're actually geared so that they're able to move. So the Nutcracker and Clara. And then just able to swap in and out. House curtain is able to come in and actually close that off between the house and the stage.
What do we have up top here? How does the roof element work?
So the roof element actually just opens and closes, so it is able to close off the entire building when it's down. We do have some of the HVAC system, as well as a couple people on the roof, just in a little vignette, that are having some pizza and playing cards. But also has a gear mechanism so that the chandelier is on a winch and is able to raise and lower. And then the ceiling of the theater was really designed. Just a lot of theaters, older theaters, have very ornate very ornate ceilings painted with different murals. So this is representing that. The side wall of the house actually can open up to give different angles. So even when the roof is closed, you can still see inside and get a better view for how that would work.
And what were some of the rooms over in this section of the build?
So in the scene shop, you've got all different tools that are working on that you normally would find in a scene shop. So you have a drill press, welding station, table saw, with a bunch of different safety signs and things that I've picked up over the years, which are fantastic. There's got to love the community and the fun that people have had with that. I love incorporating that into the builds. And then, of course, the dressing room at the back as well. And these spaces all work directly off of the main theater. So you can go directly from backstage into the dressing room or into the scene shop.
What is this area?
So this is a bit of a retail space. It's the one part that's not completely finished yet. Still need to tile the floor in there. But this just fills in some extra space with some micro builds of larger builds that I've done. My Hydra in Phoenix. This is actually the Biltmore Theater itself in a small little version for Minifigs to be able to see. And this is Main Street Station here in Richmond, right off of I-95. So something that anybody local would recognize.
There you go. That takes us to the facade of the theater itself. What were some of the design elements you included here?
So yeah, this goes onto the front of the building when it is completely closed. You've got the large B, obviously, for Biltmore Bricks, Biltmore Theater, and I wanted to incorporate the drama masks, so the happy and sad faces, the comedy tragedy, and then adding some light into that as well. So one thing that will also be added here is, as different shows are put on, you're able to have a space for those shows to be highlighted in the marquee.
And then you referenced some of the different scenes that you have here, but there's quite a few. So go ahead and take us through each of these ones briefly here.
Yeah, absolutely. So first off is just a ghost light. This is just when there's nothing else on stage, there's going to be a ghost light. It's a theater tradition. And then we go through a bunch of individual shows. And they're all different scenes largely from actual shows. Elvis is from the 68 comeback special, If I Can Dream. This is a Biltmore exclusive, COVID the Musical, featuring Quarantina. You saw it here first when somebody does turn this on Broadway. Yeah, you came in here first. Les Miserables, again, has a working barricade.
I love that playability.
So the whole thing is designed as a bit of a play set, and it's something I've designed for myself. But the idea of being able to have that action to it. Hamlet, very standalone. There's no soundtrack that goes with that. There's no action feature, but it is a nice use, I think, of the thespian minifigure as well as the William Shakespeare figure. Little Shop of Horrors, the dentist about to meet with Audrey 2. Next to that is the Rocket Man, of course, Elton John. Just a colorful use of the way that piano works. If we go that way, a variation on that same piano, in this case the maestro and the diva, so an opera singer, a lot of different things that can go along with that. Here we have the Mikado. It's the only opera that's currently in the mix, Three Little Maids from School. Next to that is from Miss Saigon. This is the most recent one built. This has the working helicopter that flies up for the fall of Saigon. Which was really the impetus for building that set, was to try to be able to have something that has that action feature to it. A rock band, not a specific band. I call it Lego Rock Band Live, but is just having some fun with being able to make the instruments and have something that goes onto that stage. Hamilton, with a working turntable for the final duel between Hamilton and Burr, with the bullet, of course, also in play. Sweeney Todd, just because I tend to have a bit of a dark sense of humor, I suppose. So Demon Barber of Fleet Street with a working trapdoor barber chair. Put a minifig on there, they will fall through. And The oven is lit up as well, though a little hard to see, but the oven is also lit for making meat pies. Man of La Mancha, The Impossible Dream, so fighting windmills. The one set that I did not make is Newsies. This was made by a friend of mine, goes by Brickville, Steve Knapp. Just a fantastic addition, though, into the same standard that I made for the show. Phantom of the Opera, which was recently updated, so you do have working candelabra to raise up out of the water. And then lastly is Wicked. And for Wicked, Elphaba does raise up for defying gravity. So I like the idea of having these action features. And again, all of these different shows are able to go onto the stage, so you can interchange and see whatever show you want to see.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Not just the theater itself, but the fact you made all these scenes. Is this an ongoing project for you? Do you have plans for more?
It is. It's always an ongoing project. Recently, I actually did a complete redesign of the entire stage, putting it into a Mills platform so that I could do things like put cable paths under the floor so that a lot of that lighting, the wiring is hidden. Initially, it wouldn't have been. So there's changes like that have happened. I don't know what the next show will be, but the idea is that I can make additional shows and that other people in the LUG or anyone else can, of course, make a show that fits into this sort of standard and can go onto that stage.
And one of the cool things here is, as you've worked on some of these projects, you've actually been able to come in and find pieces for these here at the Bricks and Minifigs store, right?
Absolutely, and that can be a couple of different things. I've gotten individual minifigs, specifically coming in here looking for those figs, but also just bulk purchase. When I did the major updates on the theater recently, I needed a number of different parts in different colors, especially some of the larger bricks, and so being able to come in and do a bulk purchase was just perfect for that and really allowed me to do what I needed.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for taking us through the builds here. Really appreciate it. Keep up the good work. And we'll go on to our second builder now, also from RVA LUG, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Tyler Goodwin. I'm a local here in Richmond. Been with RVA LUG for 2 years now. And I do come to Bricks and Minifigs a lot, mainly to rifle through the big, the bulk bin over there, get a lot of great stuff out of there. But what I have here is basically just a kind of a variety show of a lot of the stuff that I like to build, ranging from down here. This is Audrey 2, the plant from Little Shop of Horrors, which you saw.
I like the tie-in to the.
Yep. A larger version. It's actually a scale version for us humans as well, because it is a flower pot with the plant in there. And the mouth is able to articulate. We got the moving leaves here. So
always enjoy some good playability.
Absolutely, yeah. It makes a good companion piece to the piranha plant that we just got last year. I put the two of them next to each other a lot. I've got Mothra and King Ghidorah back here from the Godzilla movies. And mainly was inspired by a buddy of mine who made Godzilla a couple years back, and I wanted to do something that was roughly to scale with what he did, to kind of, display them together. Plus, you don't see a lot of other people doing, big kaiju builds like this from that particular era, so I really wanted to do that.
That's a huge amount of gold we see in this build.
Capitalize on the gold, exactly. So I bought a couple of the Infinity Gauntlet sets, one of the gold dragons from Ninjago, great supply of gold pieces from those, and try to fit as much of it as I can on there. The wings are custom. They are I made them from spandex, actually, which is very similar stretchy material that Lego uses to make their wings.
How posable is that? I see the stance it's in now, but
the wings can completely fold up like this if you want them to. The necks are completely articulatable if you want them to be. And the legs compose a little bit, but they do fall apart. So
might just lose a piece every once in a while.
Exactly. So we're always working on getting strengthening everything. One of the big things for me is that I like to build really hands-on. I don't do a lot of the digital stuff because it helps me test the durability of everything, and structurally I try to make things as strong and durable as possible. It's like a really high priority for me. Up front here, we got a couple other dragons. This is Falcor from the Neverending Story, the Luck Dragon. And then this is a black dragon. It's based on the dragon designs from Dungeons and Dragons, and was mainly inspired because I'm a DM myself, and a lot of my players, we use Lego figures as our miniatures on the maps. And so I build a lot of the monsters out of Lego as well, so that we can actually just use them in game instead of painting them or whatever. So it's given me a lot of opportunity to build a lot of cool creatures and stuff to use in game like that. So that's an example of something like that. These are tanks from Warhammer 40K, specifically the Imperial Guard. And I mainly started working on these because I wanted to do... I used to play Warhammer years ago, using the real models and stuff, but I wanted to try doing it in Lego, and I want to eventually get to the point where I can have fully playable games with them. So right now I've built some of these tanks. I also have some orcs from the Warhammer world, kind of building like these mech suits that they wear. The tanks are actually modular, so the backs of them will actually come off and are interchangeable between them. So this is a troop carrier. This is a long-range projectile launcher, and so you can swap them between the chassis because it uses the same basic mold. And so the plan is to build more of the modules to go on the back, missile launchers or anti-aircraft, whatever you want, really. And I like the idea of the system within the system kind of thing.
I think that's super cool. I also think just the Warhammer 40K style and look lends itself to Lego really nicely. When you build this out of Lego, it just creates a really neat design.
It does, yeah. And I am finally I'm learning how to use building treads that actually work and everything, which is a bit more complicated than I thought it was going to be initially. But I wanted to try to use as much purist Lego as possible when doing it, as opposed to buying like the third-party tracks or anything like that. So try to keep with that. The spider here is also something I've used in my D&D game, but it is Shelob from the Lord of the Rings, which of course naturally goes with the very large build I have here.
Finishing off the builds is this massive creation.
So this is Barad-dûr, which is the fortress of Sauron in the Lord of the Rings, and this has been my big project for the past 3 or 4 years. It originally started as just me building the eye and kind of the pinnacle of it. All started there, and then I slowly built down, scaling it from that. Didn't initially intend for it to be this big. It just kind of grew out of scale here. And my original iteration of the tower was only about this tall next to it.
How tall is this one now?
This is almost 5 feet. I think it's like 4.5 feet tall. It's about the same size as the Eiffel Tower Lego set that just came out.
Very impressive. What are some of the details kind of down here in the lava?
So I built this lava, and a lot of people ask if I've used transparent plates to shine the light through, but these are actually opaque orange plates. And funny enough, they do actually. So I have these LED strip lights running under here, and they work perfectly. Yeah. It creates a kind of it disperses the light a little more than the transparent plates do. Makes it look a little more natural. I have an entire river layout as well. In fact, when the entire thing is put together, it takes up about 6 of these tables, because I'm currently in the process of building all of Mordor. So this is just a small piece of it that I've been... this was the genesis of the project. So I've got a lot of the harder shapes to get were some of these triangular shaped walls right here. That took a while to design and get it to look right, and to get the walkways to angle properly and everything. So that's not easy to do. I'm really happy with how the lighting back here turned out. So if you look down there, it's just a bunch of really, really bright LED lights that they give a really solid glow. And it's very, very bright. Like if you turn the lights off, this thing is incredible looking. I do have lights inside of the rooms here as well. This is a jail cell over here. You can see. I think there's a skeleton in there. But there is a full interior as well. It's not completely finished yet. It's still a work in progress, but it is partially lit in there as well. I've got this walkway goes inside there, and I'm currently in the process of building a dungeon, a forge for the orcs. We want to do like an armory. I've got a throne room that I'm working on. All kinds of stuff like that, just to fill out the entire thing and eventually make it like a completely three-dimensional 360 kind of model where you can see everything from all angles. And so I do have lights running all the way up here. I kind of hid the wires inside these conduits that I built, so you can barely even see them, can barely tell they're there. So I was really happy with how that came out.
Well, this is fantastic work. All of your builds you have on display here are really cool. So it's really neat that Bricks Minifigs can kind of serve as a source of community, and you guys can come in and not only find parts, but just kind of facilitate that community as well. So for people who are maybe in the Richmond area, maybe they are coming into Bricks Minifigs and building some of their own custom builds, do you guys put on shows throughout the year, or what's a way for them to get involved if they're interested in learning more?
So RVA LUG, we do our own show every February. It's called RVA Brick Day, and we hold it at the Faison Center, which is nearby in Willow Lawn. Anyone who's local around here knows where that is. But we fill out an entire gymnasium at that school there, and we have a good 30 or 40 active members that'll bring in stuff like this, and we'll set up a giant city. We'll have running trains, and then we each have individual tables where we'll line up all of our stuff, show it off. And I definitely recommend coming out to that. Of course, if you want to get involved with the club, we do have a Discord server, and we do have a YouTube channel as well. I definitely recommend reaching out to either of those. It's a good group of people. We're all super friendly and everything. They're very open to just about anybody who wants to join, especially if you want to be a really like active member and involved in community projects and stuff. So we're currently working on some group projects within the club. So we're doing like collaborations basically. That we're going to show a brick fair this summer, and yeah, it's really good. We meet in person once a month, and then we also have dinner once a month as well. So we're always in touch with each other on Discord though. Like every day, all day, we're always talking on there. So we stay in touch a lot.
Well, that sounds good. Thanks to both of the builders here that showed off their work. So keep up the great work, guys, and can't wait to see you at more shows in the future.
All right. Thank you.